Titillating Tuesday. Does it make you laugh? Does it make you laugh?
Yes. Welcome to Titillating Tuesday, the 7th of June 2022. Yeah, got it right. Alright, so for this week, again, the week in review. Yeah. I don't know, I might start picking weight again as we head towards October. I don't know if I'll be able to do it, or if this might be my last season. I don't know. Yeah. Obviously, the physical deterrence has done its job. And now we'll move into the spiritual deterrence. Because when I started, obviously, I was a very physical guy. People who know me when I was young, they know that I wouldn't really tolerate. I never understood social cueing properly, but I wouldn't tolerate anything that suggested that there was a hierarchy. Then I moved into the intellectual stage, got myself educated, and then the deterrence was my intellect. As well as my physicality, because my physicality never goes away. What you are originally is what you revert to when the shit hits the fan, So I was red, I was never blue, but I learned to be blue. So when I grew, and so I then started the tertiary stage, which is the spiritual stage, which the necessity for it was, when you go through the intellectual stage, you always deceive yourself into thinking that there is nothing like divinity in existence. And if there is, you do also get tempted, and sometimes if you're not clever enough, you can get to believe things like that. You get tempted to think that you are the highest, or the divine. So when you leave the intellectual stage and you haven't gone down that route, because most intellects end up being atheists, but some of them who go there with the intention of proving their religion, they stay religious. But if you went in there like me, I just wanted something to do, yeah, you end up being atheist. But I didn't go that stage. I didn't go that way. Sorry, that direction. The question of the Almighty started to turn up just constantly. I just kept seeing weird things where you're like, as a scientist, let me see how I can explain these things, and I drew a blank. So I started to see, using modern terminology, started to classify these strange events, and whatever I came up with left mystery. Yeah, so it was sort of trying to classify all the data and events that happen in your life, and then you reach events which can only be described if you involve spiritual entities. Yeah. So once you start to see that, or what we're colloquially known as spiritual entities nowadays, you have things like ghost particles, wave particles, and you have phenomena that can be described as spirit, yeah, but the terminology is changed, yeah. So after leaving that stage, I concluded that I'm not the Almighty. I am not. So then you start to be philosophical when you go into the spiritual side of things, or the tertiary stage. Because being philosophical, if I'm not the Most High, the Almighty, then I am finite. Then my life energy is finite then. Yeah? Life itself can be infinite in terms of how long it would last. But it needs to, bob and weave and, fade and do all kinds of tricks to make sure that it survives for eternity. Yeah? But you as an individual, chances are that you are finite. And if you're finite, then you shouldn't have anyone drawing your life energy from you. Yeah? And the way your life energy is drawn, if you're a being that houses another being, then if that being is inside of you, yeah, it's privy to your consciousness and your energy, because the energy used by your mind to form that being inside of you, that energy there, yeah, if there's too many beings forming inside of you, they're just eating energy, man. Yeah, so, but if you're finite, you run out of energy. That's what death is. When people just frequent your mind for a long enough duration in large enough numbers that you just run out of life energy. Yeah, so that's when I decided that my meditation must be geared towards self-defense in that way. It's a spiritual defense. So I meditate to stem the tide, because my energy keeps getting drawn out by people. People come in there for dumb reasons. Any reason to draw your energy. They'll come in and say, we want to see into your mind to see if you touch any of our women. I'm like, what the hell? First of all, if I did touch a woman and she consented, that's human rights abuse. If you interfere, if it's an A to B conversation and you interfere in that, that's human rights abuse. So why would I give you access to my mind for you to abuse my human rights or another woman's human rights? All kinds of dumb reasons. They need to see. No one should need to see into your mind, because that's the most intimate space you have. Because when your dick gets hard as a man, yeah, that's where you experience it in your mind. So just imagine your dick gets hard. Your dick gets hard for random reasons. You could just be looking at. I was looking at math. I was looking at Principia, what Isaac Newton wrote down, and I started getting hard. There was no woman around, but I was experiencing the hardness in my mind. So when that happens, you don't want other people experiencing your only, you know what I mean? So that's why it's also very important that you keep people out of there, so you can afford yourself some privacy, intimacy. Yeah, so that's what the meditation is about. The meditation cannot end, because death is what happens when they keep draining your energy non-stop and you run out of it. So you have to slow down that process of draining your energy, and that's what meditation and prayer is about. That's what I've been doing anyway, rambling on like. So this week's joke and the titillating bit in the sketch, here it is. I know, get on with it. Okay, what's the most dead musical instrument? A harpsichord. What was the harpsichord? Harpsichord, anyway. Yeah, that's the joke. Oh my god, it's been 7 minutes. All right. Yeah, so anyway, to wrap up, protect your minds at all times, because that's where, you know, I told you, like, you know, like your eyes are gateway to your soul, but your consciousness, your actual thinking, yeah, is the key. So if someone is taking away your consciousness, yeah, being cognizant of your internal self or inner voice and taking that away, every time they form in there, your mind has to use energy to form them in there, and that energy is just being used for nothing now. Yeah, and it's just being, and if there's more of them and the time that they spend in your mind is more, then so what I do, as they're drawing my energy, my meditation punishes them a bit, like, you know, puts them off, deters them, yeah, disrupts their rhythm. Yeah, I like this saying that I got. Yeah, I'm doing MK Ultra on the people who are doing MK Ultra on me, because they use the same technique. When you got a rhythm going, yeah, let's say you're playing pool, yeah, you're about to take the final shot, somebody will get a phone call like, so whenever you disrupt people, like when they come into your mind to do spelling and to try and cause disease, and that's another thing, somebody taps your energy to form them in your mind and then starts putting spells on you. I mean, what the fuck? So if you kind of like meditate the way I do, making plenty of noise in my head, it kind of disrupts their rhythm as they're concentrating on completing that spell. So I meditate all day, every day, yeah, and I'm still all right. I didn't get the Kool-Aid. I didn't do any of that. I just meditated through it, yeah, and I believed and I trusted in yeah. So, and I'm still all right. Okay, let me wrap it up. This is now the 7th of June, 2022, Titillating Tuesday. I'm out.
Titillating Tuesday. Does it make you laugh? Does it make you laugh?